And we're starting with big breaking news, and you're hearing it first here on India Today. Sources have told us that Sheila Dikshit, the Congress's face for UP's chief ministership, may withdraw her candidacy for the post of Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh before the upcoming elections. According to sources close to Sheila Dikshit, the former Delhi Chief Minister is deeply upset at being systematically sidelined and not being consulted by those in charge of running the party's affairs in the state. This fresh piece of breaking news coming in from our executive editor, Javed Ansari, who joins us live on News Today. First and exclusive, Javed, big development here. Sheila Dikshit, by no means a nobody, an iconic political figure, a veteran within the Congress, has served as Chief Minister. Her tenure, if I may call it that, as the face of the UP campaign for the Congress, now apparently in trouble. Does this have anything directly to do with what's happened in the last 24 hours, Javed? The diary bomb fiasco?
No, I'm afraid it doesn't. This owes itself to the fact that she feels she's extremely miffed. She's neither being consulted or not even being informed about what is happening, whether the talks with the Samajwadi Party for an alliance in the forthcoming UP elections. She was persuaded, much against her will. She allowed herself to be persuaded to come out of retirement and to become the face of the party. And now, much to her chagrin, she realizes that she's not, forget being the face, her face has disappeared from posters, she's not being talked about, and she's not even being consulted. So she believes her position has become extremely untenable. And were this alliance to go through, then she will no longer be the face of the alliance. It will be the sitting Chief Minister, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, in which case it will be even more embarrassing. And therefore she's decided to, her advisors say that she's thinking of withdrawing from the race.
Javed, you're saying that it has nothing to do with the diary bomb disaster, but people are going to be tempted to interpret what has happened. The Congress tweeting out that list, which contained Sheila Dikshit's name as possibly the last straw that broke the camel's back.
I mean, I can well understand that her opponents will use this to try and undermine whatever Rahul Gandhi has been saying. But the fact is that the diary revelations are subsequent to developments that have been happening in the UP Congress, where she feels that she's not being consulted, she's not being talked about, and she feels there's very little for her to do. She doesn't just want to go there and be spoken about. She either is an integral part of the campaign, is projected on the face, or she would like to go back to leading a retired life.
Well, either way, a huge political development being reported there by Javed Ansari. Javed, request you to stay on with us because we're going to get deep into the diary disaster, as we're calling it. Rahul Gandhi appears to have scored what is 2016's biggest political self-goal, if it really is that, with his accusations against Narendra Modi of having taken bribes from industrialists when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. Well, the diary that Rahul has brandished as proof also contains the names of multiple Congress leaders, including most notably the party's chief ministerial candidate in UP, the person we're talking about right now, Sheila Dikshit. Well, Dikshit has dismissed the diary as credible proof. She's rubbished it, blunting Rahul Gandhi's perhaps biggest attack on the Prime Minister so far.
छह महीने में 9 बार सहारा के लोगों ने अपनी डायरी में लिखा है कि हमने नरेंद्र मोदी जी को पैसा दिया है.
5 days ago, Rahul Gandhi launched a massive attack on the Prime Minister, accusing Narendra Modi of taking bribes from industrialists during his tenure as Chief Minister of Gujarat. The Congress Vice President waved documents of a diary to charge Modi with taking bribes.
30 अक्टूबर 2013 2.5 करोड़ रुपया मोदी जी को दिया. 12 नवंबर 2013 5 करोड़ रुपया मोदी जी को दिया.
But Rahul's diary attack had a ripple effect within his own party. Congress's CM candidate in the upcoming Uttar Pradesh elections, Sheila Dikshit, is also named in the documents that Rahul brandished. Just as the BJP did, the former Delhi Chief Minister questioned the authenticity of the diary, claiming they are just a few names written by some individual. Saying she can't recall anything related to the issue, Sheila refused to comment any further. With Rahul's attack blunted by one of his own lieutenants, the Congress is busy in damage control.
Any other name propping up or figuring in this does not affect the charges made by Rahul ji. Rahul ji has made a charge against the Prime Minister, not simply making a charge.
The opposition is demanding an independent inquiry in a bid to keep the NDA under pressure. But Sheila has handed the BJP enough ammunition. Rahul Gandhi has already been under fire for what the BJP says is information rejected by the Supreme Court. And now, with the senior Congress leader rubbishing the diary, Rahul's attack could well have been further blunted. With Kumar Vikrant and Supriya Bharadwaj in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And that big development, Sheila Dikshit may withdraw her candidature from the chief ministerial race in Uttar Pradesh. Headlines the entire discussion we're about to enter. Joined this evening by Sanjay Jha, senior member and spokesperson for the Congress party, Sambit Patra, spokesperson for the BJP, Siddharth Vadrajan, senior journalist and founding editor of The Wire, Biswajit Bhattacharya, ex-additional Solicitor General of the country, and also with me here in our studios is executive editor Javed Ansari. Sanjay, I'd like to start with you because, you know, that breaking news is tremendous. Sheila Dikshit may withdraw from the race. We're talking about her because of what she has said about the diary, the notes that have been tweeted out by the Congress party, which are being interpreted as having hit her directly. It was supposed to be an attack on Narendra Modi, and now Sheila Dikshit, reports Javed Ansari, may actually withdraw from the race. Your first reaction, Sanjay?
Shiv, let me put it straight on your channel. The Congress party and Mr. Rahul Gandhi have done a whole lot of due diligence, have thoroughly scrutinized the documents, and we were fully aware that there were a number of political leaders from various political parties who are named in the Sahara and the Bidla bribery papers, including the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. I think, let's not be morally ambiguous here. In fact, Mr. Rahul Gandhi needs to be congratulated for having addressed a problem of some very serious corruption payoffs against the Prime Minister and other leaders by taking the bull by the horns. He's bitten the bullet, if you can use that term.
But what about Sheila Dikshit?
The truth is that it's not just Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There are two very popular, I'm answering you, there are two very popular chief ministers of the BJP, Shivraj Singh Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh, Raman Singh in Chhattisgarh. I think end of the day there's a very prominent BJP spokesperson involved. There is an overwhelming presence of the Saffron Parivar in those papers, principally Mr. Narendra Modi
So
himself.
Is Sheila Dikshit acceptable collateral damage then? Is that what
Sheila
you're saying?
Sheila Dikshit's name is there. I'm answering that. I'm saying that today, if we have to cleanse corruption and we have to make sure that everybody in our times of, transparency and everybody should be above suspicion like Caesar's wife, well, let's bite the bullet and make sure that in a transparent, independent investigation, we get to the bottom of the problem. Why is Narendra Modi, who is known to be politically vindictive, so silent when members of opposing political parties are named? That is the fundamental question you need to ask yourself and ask the BJP spokesperson. Because if there are Congress people and JDU and other leaders named, why is Modi quiet? What is Modi apprehensive about? What is he hiding? What is he scared of?
The reason,
that is the point
Sanjay,
that we are
the
making.
reason is Sheila Dikshit, has actually rubbished these diaries. Her name appearing in it has, said that this is all a bunch of bunkum. She's dismissed all these allegations. Hasn't that, blunted Rahul Gandhi's attack? Sure, it names all of these BJP chief ministers, names the Prime Minister himself. But what about Sheila Dikshit? She's your, Uttar Pradesh face.
Well, let me answer that for you. Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party have factored in all eventualities even when,
so it's
they
not
made
a
that
gaffe.
public statement.
Okay.
Please understand this. I'm repeating it again. The Congress party has done thorough due diligence and is aware of the fact that the BJP will try and create a red herring. The focus is Narendra Modi, not Sheila Dikshit. She has got every right, and I respect her view that she should contest whatever allegations have been made.
But Narendra Modi is the principal factor. Saying this was a calculated move. Due diligence was done. Sheila Dikshit was named. We knew about it. We put the list out nevertheless because the prime target is Narendra Modi, and whether Sheila Dikshit was named in it, and no matter what she has said since her name appeared in it, it doesn't matter because Narendra Modi's name is on the list, and that's all that matters. Sambit?
All that matters in this is Rahul Gandhi has a set of papers which he claims that on the basis of these papers, there should be an investigation. I do not want to go into the fact whether Sheila Dikshit rubbishes it or not. It is their affair. But the Supreme Court of the country has rubbished these set of papers that Rahul Gandhi is giving to the public every day. And I would rather like to quote the oral observation of the Supreme Court about the Sahara group of papers. I quote, "Sahara group documents are not genuine. They are fictitious, zero, and not authentic.
Which is what Sheila Dikshit has also said.
Investigation based on these evidences." Just a second, let me complete. Why should I be worried about what Sheila Dikshit is saying when the Supreme Court of this country has already observed that these papers that Rahul Gandhi is talking about is bunkum, that these papers are fictitious and zero. Whether Sheila Dikshit repeats it or whether she does not repeat what the Supreme Court has said is none of my concern. My concern is to draw inspiration and power from the supreme judgment of the Supreme Court, the supreme observation of the Supreme Court. So today, in fact, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been left red-faced, leave aside by their own home, by Sheila Dikshit or not, but he has been left red-faced because of the fact that the papers that he was bringing out already has been rubbished and dropped and torn by the Supreme Court.
Okay, so the BJP says they don't care about what Sheila Dikshit says, though I'm sure at some level this is very important vindication for where they stand as far as these papers is concerned, but they say they're going to go as far with what the Supreme Court has said. Mr. Vardarajan, a pretty intriguing state of play, over this so-called diary bomb of Rahul Gandhi's. How are you reading it?
Well, I think the first point to make is that the Congress party needs to give an answer to why, when these documents pertain to transactions that happened during the time UPA was in power, and when these documents had been in the government's possession for several years, why didn't the Congress party proceed, why didn't the UPA government proceed with an investigation when it had the ability to do so? That's question number one.
Yes.
Question number two, I think it would have been far more, I am one of those who believes that there is enough prima facie evidence in these diaries, and it's not just the Sahara papers but the Birla papers as well, to warrant a serious, thoroughgoing, independent investigation. This country has put for 17 days a former Air Chief Marshal in jail on the basis of diary entries of a Swiss gentleman and an Italian. But you're not prepared to even investigate diaries when you have correspondence between the tax people and Birla officials, where when they're asked to explain what does an entry against Gujarat CM mean, and the Birla official says, well, that means maybe Gujarat Chemicals. So it's not as if these are fabricated. The hearing is ongoing. The Supreme Court has not pronounced any decision on this, and I think in all fairness, there needs to be an independent investigation. Where Rahul Gandhi has erred, in my view, politically or tactically, is that he should have, from day one, perhaps even got all the congressmen named, all the Congress party leaders who are named in these diaries, to issue a joint statement that, yes, we are named in these diaries, we agree that there should be an independent probe and we should be probed, and just like we should be probed, we demand that Narendra Modi should be probed. I think that would have settled this issue completely. I still think it's a bit of a damn squib, quite frankly. The Sheila Dikshit card, I mean, I don't think this changes anything. I mean, if anybody named in that diary is bound to rubbish it, right? So Sheila ji has as much right to do it as Mr. Narendra Modi has.
Yes.
The question is that in a democracy where you have an allegation of wrongdoing, you need independent investigation and verification of these facts. Right? So until that happens, none of us are the wiser, quite frankly. And I think, and I'm hoping that the Supreme Court will in fact order the kind of inquiry that these papers necessitate.
Okay. Biswajit Bhattacharya, before I come to you, Sambit and Sanjay, because there are questions that Mr. Vardarajan has asked that both of you, will want to perhaps take on. But I want to quickly bring in Mr. Bhattacharya. Mr. Bhattacharya, a legal case, I mean, made out for a larger inquiry? Because, there is a lot of sort of vagueness as far as, these diaries, one side denying that, there is any truth in them, the other side saying that an investigation should happen. What do you think, Mr. Bhattacharya?
You see, my view is that the matter is pending
yes,
in the Supreme Court.
That's right.
The next date of hearing is on 11th of January. So therefore, what basic material and evidence have been placed before the Supreme Court on 16th of December is not within the knowledge of either the press or all the panelists here. So therefore, what evidence has been placed before the Supreme Court, ultimately Supreme Court will have to take a call.
Right.
And if the material placed calls for an investigation, then Supreme Court will basically order an investigation. And if Supreme Court finds that material placed is not adequate, which warrants an investigation, then Supreme Court will just throw it out.
So therefore,
the case is
at
this stage, So therefore, at this stage, the matter has simply been adjourned 4 times. And Mr. Prashant Bhushan has placed voluminous documents on 16th of December. As who the persons named are not very important in this matter. Suffice it to say that the persons named are very, very important persons.
Sambit, you want to take that on?
Whether this political party or that political party.
Sambit, the BJP is treating this like case closed. The Supreme Court has rubbished everything. But this is a case in progress.
Under Section 34 of the Indian Evidence Act, books of diaries
Mr. Bhattacharya, let
in the regular course of business are relevant and admissible.
Understood.
But they are not sufficient to fasten liability.
Point made. The case is ongoing.
You need additional evidence to fasten liability, and that additional evidence can come only through investigation. That is what the Supreme Court PIL is asking for.
So it's not case closed, Sambit. It's not case closed.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It is not case closed, but you have to understand the evidence that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been producing, the Sahara documents and the Birla diaries, these are closed. Because if these are the evidences that Rahul Gandhi has, then the Supreme Court has already given a sense of closure as far as these evidences are concerned in its oral observation, saying that if you have any further evidences, not these papers that you have been showing to the people, not these papers of Sahara
anything over and above that,
not this Birla diary, if you have anything over and above that, please deposit it by December 16th. Mr. Rahul Gandhi did not go to the court depositing any paper by December 16th. Prashant Bhushan has deposited some paper. The Supreme Court, in fact, met on after December 16th, once on December 16th, where Prashant Bhushan wanted the reclusal of the designate CJI, Justice Keher, saying that I want you to recluse yourself from this case. To which, in fact, the board, the bench was infuriated, saying that nothing doing. I would not hear what you say, and let us meet on January 11th, where I would pronounce the verdict.
So beyond the diary
the
entries.
Closure on the document that Rahul Gandhi has been speaking.
So you're saying that there is a limited observation on the diary notings itself. You're saying that there is a...
I'll just take 10 more seconds. I'll just take 10 more seconds to make a very important observation on the question of Mr. Varadarajan. Mr. Varadarajan says that these entries are extremely important, and so the Supreme Court should take a call. Mr. Varadarajan, about these questions of entries, Santi Bhushan had sounded a bell on the Supreme Court, and this is what Justice Keher and Justice Mishra observed. I quote, "The entire world can be roped in if action was to be taken on such material. Any unscrupulous person can make such computer entries." So I believe, Mr. Varadarajan, you must have got the answer. This is not from the mouth of BJP. This is from the mouth of the...
I'll give Siddhartha a chance to respond to that, but I want to bring in Sanjay Jha once again, because there were 2 pertinent questions raised by Siddhartha Varadarajan. Sanjay, you may want to take them on. One, the UPA didn't pick up this issue when it was in power, when it was in a position to do so. And 2, that the suggestion that Rahul Gandhi has gone about this in entirely the wrong way. There should have been more transparency from the Congress leaders named in these diary entries. Sanjay.
Well, let me answer that. But firstly, You know, the BJP spokesperson is so jittery and rattled, he's misleading your viewers. The matter is sub judice.
Do I
And
appear
incidentally,
jittery
by
and
the way, the
rattled?
documents submitted will dovetail and will be part of a larger whole for new documents that are going to be submitted and have been submitted already to the Supreme Court. So this is not a verdict, there's no judgment, these are observations, they're not final. I think the viewers of India Today need to be respected for the truth. The second point, as far as, I think Siddharth's points are concerned, let me tell you that the raids on Sahara were done as late as after Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister. The fundamental point here is this, that end of day, these are not just notation and files or on a diary that was found at the time of the Jain Hawala Commission.
Yeah.
These are emailed documents, these are places where names are categorically written, and very important point, they have reconciled, you know, these payoffs, Shiv, have reconciled with the financial ledgers held with the Birla and the Sahara, which tell you that these are not fictitious. Now the Supreme Court is asking, are these documents genuine? Well, let me tell you, if the Deputy Director of the Income Tax is signed off, I think let the courts decide. I'm not going to preempt it. But the fundamental point as far as about the Congress leaders being named, let me tell you, this entire fact has been in the public domain for a long time. Everyone named from all political parties, from Shaina NC to Mr. Shivraj Chauhan to Raman Singh to Mr. Narendra Modi are aware of it. So I don't think one has to talk about a strategy for it.
Okay.
Everybody was aware of the fact.
All right.
I think Mr. Gandhi needs to be congratulated for taking on corruption as a critical issue.
Okay.
And by telling the Prime Minister, walk the talk. Otherwise, don't give tall lectures. मैं नहीं खाऊंगा, मैं तो पेट भर के खा रहा हूँ. सच कहिए तो पेट भर के खा रहे हैं मोदी जी.
Sambit, you've got your hand raised, so I'm just going to give you 20 seconds and then I'm going to end with Siddharth Vadrajan. 20 seconds to you, Sambit. Go ahead.
And this audacity of the congressmen, when they go against the Supreme Court outrightly, when they say that, these are just oral observations of Supreme Court, so they can be discounted.
Nobody is going
My
against
question
the Supreme
is,
Court.
Supreme
Stop
Court
lying,
oral,
Mr.
just a
Sambit
second.
Patra. Stop
Please,
lying.
sir, I was not.
That is a very stale.
Start
filthy
behaving, Mr.
fascist
Mr. Sanjay Jha, start
and
behaving.
I will stop you when you do it.
You are an old
I will stop you
spokesperson,
when you
start
lie.
behaving. I did not behave in this way.
You
Sir,
tell me
please
right
behave.
now, where
Be
did I
courteous.
criticize the Supreme Court?
Be courteous.
Where did I criticize the Supreme Court? You tell
Can
me.
this man be taught some
Okay.
behavior?
You tell me,
Can
where
this
did I
man be
criticize
taught
the
some
Supreme
behavior?
Court?
Sanjay,
Shiv, why don't
Sanjay,
you play the
teach
tape?
this man some
Shiv, play
behavior.
the tape. Let's hear it. Where did I criticize the Supreme Court?
I'm
Shiv,
going to
please
extend,
teach this
I'm
man
going to
some
extend
behavior.
this
Let me
discussion by a
complete
few
my
minutes,
point.
Sanjay, so I can come back to you.
This man to lie on your channel.
I'm going to extend this debate
haven't
by a few
criticized
minutes so I can
Supreme
give you a chance to respond. Sanjay, just let
learn
Sambit
behavior.
finish.
Don't
I'll come
behave
right back
Rahul
to you.
Gandhi.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let's not get
Extend it.
personal.
Play the tape again.
Let's not get personal. Sambit, finish your point.
Number one.
Sambit, finish your point.
How do I finish my point of if Rahul Gandhi is shouting at the
Okay,
top of his voice?
go ahead,
Thank
go ahead.
you. Number one. I mean, the premise of the Congress party has been discount the oral observations of Supreme Court. Well, I don't understand. Discount the oral observations of Supreme Court, but the oral observations of one Mr. Rahul Gandhi is sacrosanct. What is this kind of behavior? Why should Rahul Gandhi is not supreme than the Supreme Court? For Mr. Sanjay Jha, he may be the supreme most person, but for me the Supreme Court is far more
Ridiculous
important.
statements.
And right now Mr. Sanjay Jha said, these papers are genuine or not. The Supreme Court has called these papers ingenuine, not authentic, and zero. So you have in fact you have sounded the contempt of court. And Mr. Sanjay Jha, learn behavior before you act as a spokesperson. Don't behave like Rahul Gandhi.
Okay.
Listen, for God's sake, Mr. Sambit Patra, we saw what happened in your Aaj Tak program. People were going to thrash you up for your absolutely ridiculous statements. Please don't lecture us on civility.
Let's not get personal on this issue.
Last political party
Remember, no one can
lecture
back
others
me.
on how to
Mr.
conduct
Sanjay
themselves.
Jha,
Sanjay, let's not get personal.
propagate Gundaraj by
This is
saying
not
that
what it's
people are
about.
going to
Gentlemen,
thrash me.
please calm
No
down.
one is going to thrash me,
I'm
remember,
just
because
not
we
hearing
speak
you.
truth. Mr. Sanjay Jha,
Sambit,
people like you.
Sambit
I
and
saw friends of
Sanjay,
Rahul Gandhi like
let's
you
not talk
will
about
not teach me
trashing,
anything.
please. Let's really not talk about trashing. If we
Of
could.
the country, remember.
I will challenge you every
You have been
time
rejected
I
by
see
the
you
country
on a
as a
TV show.
spokesperson, and you have the
I
audacity
will
of
challenge
misbehaving
you
over
every
here.
time I encounter you,
Okay,
my friend.
I must implore
You
both
will
of you
not be allowed
gentlemen
to
not to
get
talk
away
about
with your
trashing,
bluff,
please,
Mr.
because
Sanjay
that would be a low
You
point
are
for
the
this show.
most
Please,
hated
let's not talk about
spokesperson of the
trashing.
country, remember that.
Let's not
People
get
laugh
personal.
at you and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, remember that. Before you open your mouth.
Sambit and
This guy-
Sanjay,
this guy-
both of you are
this guy
highly
needs-
respected
this guy needs a
spokespersons.
glass
I'm
of
sure
water,
you have
somebody give him
legions of fans. Nobody
Mr.
wants to
Sanjay
trash
needed to
either
be
of
shown the
you.
mirror, which I
Certainly
have
not
done
here at
today.
India Today. Please,
No,
gentlemen,
Shiv, I'm enjoying a frank and candid
I'm sure you are.
Enjoy.
I'm sure you are. But I
You sit
implore
back
you,
and enjoy.
gentlemen, nothing to do with thrashing, please, but almost out of time. You've both had your say. I'm afraid I haven't been able to give enough time to the others, but I want to end with Siddharth because I've only been able to go to him once, and if I have time, I'll go to Biswajit as well. But Mr. Vadrajan, given the names in these diary entries, and the fact that these aren't new diary entries. This is not some scoop that Rahul Gandhi has come up with. In your expert journalistic view, do you think we will ever actually see a full investigation into these diary entries, sir?
I'm hoping that the Supreme Court will pass the burden of authenticating these documents to professionals in this matter who are, investigating agencies. And, that's essentially finally the CBI or whoever is tasked will have to take a call on this.
Right.
I want to remind Mr. Patra, who has a touching faith in the oral observations of the Supreme Court, that there is a delightful YouTube video of Narendra Modi, when Narendra Modi was CM, where Karan Thapar refers to certain uncharitable things that the Supreme Court said about Mr. Modi. And Mr. Modi said, Karan, those are oral observations. Until it is written down, they mean nothing. So, Mr. Patra, let's wait till what happens when the Supreme Court takes a final decision. And if you're going to get so excited about oral observations, then please embrace the observations that the Supreme Court made orally on Mr. Modi back in 2002.
Okay, Samit,
you are so excited about the oral observations of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Why are you so excited about the oral observations?
Okay. Now we're getting into oral observations of other issues. I wanted to try and contain this debate on this issue.
was fiddling while Gujarat was burning.
Okay, we're completely out of time, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us, Samit Patra, Sanjay Jha, Siddharth Vadrajan, Biswajit Bhattacharya, and our executive editor Javed Ansari for getting us that very important piece of breaking news, which we will continue to bring you at 10 p.m. as well, very extensively. But stay tuned to News Today.